Hi, this is Kimberly. Today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. I wanted to review the Chris Watts movie that was on Lifetime Saturday night. Chris Watts' Confessions of a Killer premiered January 25th, 2020. And as one would expect, it'll somehow take a whimsical and aimless turn into something completely unrelated. If you're new to my channel, brace yourself. You'll get used to it. And when I say Chris and shit, I'm referring to Christopher Lee Watts, the family annihilator. And if you add Chris plus chicken shit, you get Chris and shit. So keep that in mind. A lot of people have asked about it, new subscribers. After we talk about the Lifetime movie, I'm going to play another audio of one of Chris and Shit's co-workers from Anadarko. His name is Kodi Roberts, and he's a really nice guy. This questioning by the CBI took place August 15th, 2018. So this was the afternoon of Doofus being arrested. He was arrested and taken into custody. It was almost midnight on August 15th, so going into the 16th when he was officially taken into custody. There's nothing of vital importance in this interview, but I found it very interesting. This guy is 22 years old and he really respected and looked up to Chris Watts, and he was like, he's a really nice guy and I don't think he's done anything wrong and I've never seen anything. And he even suggests that Pissface is his friend. He said he's his work friend, bless his heart. And he praised the undeserving bastard to high heaven at the end of the recording. So this recording was 48 minutes or thereabouts, and I trimmed it down to around 24 minutes, taking out all the long ass pauses and the ums and the ahs. You're welcome. So, Lifetime movie. Okay, so you may be surprised to hear that I burst out laughing whenever they would show scenes of Chris and shit doing his media interviews. It was clear that the actor studied his part very intensely. He was probably like, yeah, this is my breakout role. A lot of people are going to be watching this. And I mean, he did a very good imitation. But it was funny. I couldn't stop laughing. My daughter was laughing too. And I also found myself laughing. Both of us just burst out when he would slap on his Strive patches and drink his shake and pop his vitamins. And they were doing it all fast and type of thing. So my daughter and I had a watch party, and I promptly fell asleep on her dreamy gray crushed velvet couch covered with the blanket that was covering my mother when she was on her deathbed. Dang, y'all, sometimes I do come out with some of the craziest and morbid shit, I know, but it's true. It's life and it's me. It's just how I am. But yeah, I was like, in Shanann's words, I was super pumped and super excited for this, and then I promptly fell asleep on the couch. I was in and out like I was under a light anesthesia, like when you're getting your colonoscopy. This, after we had excitedly talked about this event for weeks on end, way before Christmas even came. I think we planned it the day the movie was announced. It wasn't just the Lifetime movie, it was the documentaries too. We were all worked up and animated and stuff, and let's order food and it'll be a thing. And it was kind of like when I was young and I'd be all like, hey, let's get drunk and have a good time. And then 45 minutes later, my face was in the toilet at the McDonald's I worked at. My 19-year-old assistant manager was patting me on the back, telling me, it's just your turn, sweetie. She was awesome and I wanted to be just like her. After the vomiting episode, I had to sleep on the floor. This was after I got home, not at McDonald's, but my bed was spinning like Dorothy's house in The Wizard of Oz. And I would now like to confess to my parents, God rest their soul, that red stain on the brand new carpeting in my bedroom, it wasn't from spilling Kool-Aid like I told you. I had gotten shit-faced one night on too many slow gin fizzes. This was a different night, and it didn't sit well in my tummy after eating greasy fast food, and I had a smiley face throw rug that I threw over it. It was never discovered until after I moved out of the house, but I want y'all to know that I did finally outgrow all that shit. It's not like I was doing this stuff last week or something. I'm old now. I can't handle being all besotted anymore. Even sleeping it off doesn't work, 'cause I I wake up with hangovers all the time, even though I've not had the pleasure of being inebriated. I can't handle much in the way of festivities, it seems, anymore. I used to do all that ill-timed shit to my husband, too. It would be a Saturday night, get the kids in bed or out for the evening. We'd order a pizza, light some candles, turn down the light to watch a movie together, and I would be snoring in 10 minutes. He would not be impressed. Disappointed is not even the word. Dejected, worse. Next thing you know, he would like poke me in my side with the fire iron. You know that thing you poke the fire with? Any other night I have insomnia, but and I'll be up all freaking night, but just and totally skip a night of sleep or something like that. I fall asleep every time. But anyway, my daughter and I, by the way, you may see her in the comments sometimes bad mouthing me. Her screen name is I'm Only Creeping. So y'all show her some love or sympathy, whatever she needs. She's trying to get up the nerve to do her own YouTube channel. You guys are going to love her. She is the queen of common sense. So raise your hand if you would go and check out her channel when she finally makes one. I'll play her debut video on my channel. Then y'all can run over and subscribe. But anyway, again, her name is I'm Only Creeping, but I'm Only Creeping and I ordered in some hibachi food for the occasion of watching this Lifetime movie and the two documentaries that I was super duper awesomely excited for. And then so I took a few bites of the hibachi food and I got sick to my stomach. I did manage to down 2 great big spring rolls and about 5 dumpling things, my fortune cookie and a half a pound of peanut M&Ms, and 1 giant overcooked piece of broccoli. Then as an encore, I downed 2 packs of Alka-Seltzer and fell asleep on the couch and had a nightmare about fire. And I slept for 12 hours straight. Soon after I woke, I heard the horrible news about Kodi and his daughter, the pilot and the others, and I was stunned. And I was fumbling around for my cane that I used to get myself going sometime, and all the clatter I was making made my daughter come searching for me. She's coming down the hall yelling, "What the hell happened?" as she walked briskly, and then she expertly slid the rest of the way down the hall on her wooden floors, wearing those kind of socks that slide when you want them to, but not so much as you bust your ass when you get up to go to the bathroom or get a snack. Back to the Lifetime movie. Sorry about that. I warned y'all. I don't know how I get going off on a tangent the way I do. Don't they call this your second childhood or something like that? Adults whose declining mental capacities or capabilities mean they need care similar to that of children. They call it a second childhood. I think I'm entering that. But with this Lifetime movie, they went with Asshat's Wisconsin version, that Dunderhead made up while he was eating his lunch of macaroni and cheese and milk. He seemed to be embellishing more when he came back from lunch. It sounded to me like he was just making up shit as he went along. But on the other hand, it kind of makes sense. So how do we know to believe it the way they did the movie? How do we know to that damn clusterfuck of Cadles? I mean, I don't even believe those letters now. He's a damn liar pants. He's a bullshitting, deceitful person. He represents one set of facts and knowing that a different set of facts prevail. He's not even smart enough to understand that shit. He's a con artist load of crap, a fraudster. He tells falsehoods. He's a phony, fake, lying, cheat, asshole, dumbass. I didn't like the way they portrayed Shanann. Yes, Shanann seems like she could have been bossy. Hell, she admitted to it. But let's face it, her husband was not the quickest bunny in the forest. She was the adult in the house. This is why the person in charge is often called the boss. Therefore, you can be bossy. You're commanding and assertive, so you naturally take the lead. She was the overseer of the home and the family, and she knew how to connect the positives with the negatives. And she didn't smile enough in this movie, the actress that played her. I didn't like that. Shanann smiled quite often. She had a great big smile, and that lady wasn't doing it. She wasn't Shanann. But I'm sure she was doing as she was told, and she was probably told, act like a bossy bitch. But this movie made her out to be all domineering and tyrannical and dictatorial. So maybe that's why they went with the shocking untruth of thumping her head down the stairs with the girl standing there at the top of the stairs watching. Why would they disgrace her like that in the movie? That just shocked the hell out of me, and it was uncalled for. It was disgraceful. Dragging her with her head thumping down the stairs. It was her feet. Dumbass said in the Wisconsin interview that her feet, allow me to read it. Quote, he tried to carry Shanann down the stairs, lost his grip, and ended up having to pull her down the stairs. In other words, he dropped her twice. Bella watched him drag Shanann down the stairs and began to cry and said, what's wrong with mommy? He told Bella again that her mommy didn't feel good. Bella's a smart girl and knew what was going on. Bella never touched Shanann or tried to wake her up. Bella followed him down the stairs. He backed his pickup truck into the driveway and put Shanann into the back seat of his truck on the floorboard. When he returned inside, Celeste was in her room and was starting to get out of her bed. He believed the noise of Shanann's feet, not her head, her feet, hitting the stairs as he dragged her down the stairs may have woken up Celeste. This is in the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, Agent Tammy Lee's report. She's from the CBI, February 22nd, 2019. This is pages 8 and 9. It was her feet, not her head. It's a goddamn disgrace. But I want to point out page 3 while I have this in front of me. It says, quote, Kessinger also saw a picture of Shanann on his lock screen. Kessinger knew he was married and had children. He knew Kessinger lied and said she didn't know he was married. Kessinger was trying to save face, according to Watts, end quote. It also says on page 14 of the Wisconsin interview, same report from Agent Tammy Lee, quote, there were never any incidents of domestic violence between he and Shanann during their relationship. Shanann was the dominant person who always took control of everything. He always just went with the flow and always wanted to be in the back row. He never felt belittled by Shanann. He was the introvert and Shanann took control of most situations. He hated being in videos, but he went along with it because it was for Shanann's business. He couldn't tell Shanann he didn't want to be in the videos because it would have made her mad, end quote. And then I added, he is a sissy. And then back to quoting, Shanann was a good salesperson and could have sold everything we were wearing back to us without us even knowing. He hated being out there for everyone to see and was against doing their gender reveal on Facebook Live, end quote. Well, you know what? Dunderhead, you should have put on your biggest big boy pants and practice saying no. It's one word and it's really easy to say. Most toddlers know how to shout it. It's one of their first words. You may even consider saying no thank you. And then you can graduate to say, I'd rather not, but thanks for asking. You don't even have to offer an explanation. Just fucking say no. In fact, when being assertive, it is preferable that you don't. That means you are so important that you don't even have to say why you don't want to do something. And maybe fold your arms across your chest and stand as tall as you can, and then refuse to cooperate. This is called disobedience, failure or refusal to obey rules or someone in authority. You may wind up in a corner, but you will have gotten your way. You didn't have to do it because you got sent to the corner. Or they just gave up and let you not do it. Page 16 of the same report, quote, they never fought, talking about Kessinger and Watts. They never fought, but he had to calm Kessinger down a few times. Kessinger got upset when she realized she would always be the other person and that he, Watts, would always put his wife first, end quote. Of course, you were the mistress. You knew you were the mistress. Case in point, when you looked up, quote, marrying your mistress. You also looked up, guy I'm dating says he will leave his wife. You knew your spot. You knew where you were. You knew your place of hierarchy. You were below Shanann. Of course you were. God almighty, children, don't you see that you create your own drama? All this shit you created yourself. There doesn't have to be problems. Why on earth would you want to juggle a girlfriend when you are broke You have a wife, two children, a baby on the way, and y'all are about to have nowhere to live when they foreclose on your house. And you're about not to be let back in the house because your wife is suspecting that you have a girlfriend and you're not telling her about it. You're not telling her what the fuck is going on in your empty head. You did this, and you have just further complicated your life by having both your wife and girlfriend always pissed at you. Both of them are always pissed at you now, dumbass. This didn't work out good, did it? Shanann, in my opinion, never came across as pretentious in real life. She was quite engaging, I thought. I get that they had to put Shanann in this movie, but the way they did it, it didn't work having her only as a walk-on role. She was on this 2-hour movie for what, 8 minutes? That was about it. I think they were just trying to make the movie completely about Asshead, but of course they have to include all these side players. I was quite surprised that Shanann was featured in the movie so little, actually, and the girls. I was expecting more. But I kind of get why they did it the way they did. But why was his floozy the one wearing makeup and having her hair all cute, and Shanann was running around no makeup on, her hair wasn't done? And they just made the wench and Kay seem a little too Amber Fryish, and I didn't like that. In real life, Shanann was a stunning and photogenic woman. You would never know that from this movie. The feelings that CW was experiencing, I believe it was having an ego for the first time. Ego was new to him. He had never had the ego high before, and he was on a flippin' ego trip. Women were looking at him being all buff and shit. Nikki was willing to do God knows what in bed. It was a damn free-for-all. Or on the roof, or perhaps the kitchen table. I mean, anywhere. Anything goes. It was all about the ego that he was experiencing with Nikki. And he didn't know if it was love or lust or what. I think it was some of all of that too. This ego, I think, and my daughter, we talked about it. It's the first time he ever felt it. Because I was like, what the hell was different with her? I know he felt lust with Shanann. And she offered up that it was his ego. And it makes perfect sense. So see why y'all are going to like my daughter. And again, her name is I Am Only Creeping. But that was his first time feeling ego. He didn't know what it was. It was fun. It was awesome. It was a high. I didn't like that the Lifetime movie made NK seem normal. And I don't mean that as an insult, but she didn't have all these idiosyncrasies that the real one has, and saying like all the time, and like I said, kind of Amber Fryish. And then they had it where dipshit found Shanann's phone when it was actually Nick, the teenage son of Nicole Atkinson, who they called Amber in the movie. And then they had Amber, aka Nicole Atkinson, standing behind Fuckface pointing at him to the cop. She didn't do that in the real video. And also, the officer was onto him immediately anyway. He didn't need people pointing at him. They do in the movies. But yeah, they had it where dipshit found Shanann's phone when it was actually Nick. The timeline was all out of order. This is a very complicated story with many, many characters, and they extend and branch out. And in order to do this movie justice, it would have to be a 2 or 3 part movie of 2 hours each, a mini series. And then that weird way they were trying to do Dunderhead's hair with the gray coming in on the sides. It was stupid. It didn't look natural at all. They needed to work on that a bit more. They need a new hair person. And then they had Shanann's hair looking like shit. And Kay's all curled and freshly done and shit. And yeah, I love what you did with CW's facial hair. How did you get it to come out of his nostrils like that? I mean, he looked like... Was Chris all scruffy and shit? Maybe he was. But I tell you, that actor that portrayed Chris, he had me goddamn laughing my ass off at some points. And he wasn't trying to be comical. It was just because he was spot on with his impersonation. He has studied this shit. It was just weird watching someone else try to recreate all of these scenes that we know by heart. Some parts were dead on. Sorry about that. Some parts were dead on and others were comical. My daughter and I were laughing at the same parts that were just absurd. And there was no fucking window on the garage. How the hell did Amber know the car seats for the kids were in the car without any fucking windows on the garage door in the movie? They were there in real life, but not in the movie. So how the hell did she see those damn car seats? She didn't. That was stupid as shit. I did my usual laughing at inappropriate times. It's just what I do. I warned y'all. Please don't expect me to follow proper etiquette protocol. I was raised right, but it didn't stick. I'm just me, humble me. Some of the weird looks on the CW actor's face, I can tell he practiced in the mirror. One cannot replicate that vacant look that Chris Watts has. He tried, bless his heart, but fucktard is empty-headed, remember? He has one unusually stale crumb in his cracked cookie jar. It's an abandoned building. His driveway doesn't quite reach the road. Fuckface is brain dead, slow-witted. He's slow on the uptake, hollow, a bear covered, drain dry, warthog face buffoon, weak riffraff nitwit, physically repulsive, intellectually retarded, morally reprehensible, vulgar, asswagon, beetlehead, jackwagon, bitch boy, butthead, insensitive, selfish, stupid, fugly bitch face, festering, oozing scab, bitchwad, fuckweasel, fart factory, slug slime, sack of rat guts, and cat vomit, douche canoe, cheesy, lame brain, scab, picked pimple, squeezing Mrs. ass, numb nuts, pain in the ass, festering piece of chicken shit. And for the record, I'm not insulting you. I'm describing you. I think Lifetime left Detective Baumhover out of the movie because of his severe PTSD. I'll link a video that I did on that several months back. And I read the Denver Post article that was titled, Investigators on the Chris Watts Case Still Deal with Trauma, Lee-Rourke and Baumhover. This changed all of us. And to address the idiots that keep saying I'm loaded and hammered when I do my videos, damn it, y'all, I am not drunk. I just can't fucking talk sometimes. I stumble over and slur my words, which is really quite a shame because I do love words. And make no mistake, I used to be quite the drinker. It helped with the pain. That was several years back, and before I found my current doctor that diagnosed my fibromyalgia, among other things. It's a neurological thing, and it makes my body have a mind of its own, much to my dismay. But I'm learning to accept and lean into it. My hands jerk and make me knock shit over and drop things, and oftentimes my mouth won't work right. I know the word or the sentence I want to say. Sometimes it won't come out, and sometimes it just won't come out right. And sometimes I start talking, but my mouth and tongue won't cooperate. It pisses me off. At least there's video editing software so I can cut out the stuttering and some of the other shit. But now I'm just gonna go with it because it is what it is, and people are convinced that I've been nipping in the cooking sherry, but I haven't. And I am not a robot, and I don't use a voice changer to hide my identity. Dear me, I can't change what people think. I can't make them smart or have common sense either. So you do you, and I'll talk with a mouthful of marbles. I tell you, it's not been easy being me, but I'm mostly good now, and it just keeps getting better. For example, the other day, my dentist told me that I needed a crown, and I was like, I know, right? And, I'm 99.9% sure I'm a Disney princess, so yeah, I'm gonna get my crown, my dentist said. But yeah, when I'm not sounding like a robot or using a voice synthesizer, I sound sloshed. But that's okay, I'm good with me now. And if I'm not your type of person, then just piss off. But you have no idea what you're missing. Sometimes I have some insightful little gems and shit like that, and you're gonna miss it when I'm being all astute and shrewd and stuff. But I forgot, this isn't about me. Forgive me, please. The movie was just okay. I mean, I did like it. I give it about 2.5 stars, maybe closer to 3 out of 5. I like that it made me laugh, and I know it wasn't a comedy movie, but I couldn't help it. when that guy was impersonating Chris Watts, he did pretty good, except for he couldn't get the look down when he would have a vacant look on his face. I mean, I know that's not where the movie was supposed to be going, but my daughter and I would burst into laughter at the same times, and it was always on Fart Face's scenes. I was outraged at the bringing down Shanann via the stairs. The way they did that shit was uncalled for, having her head bumped down the stairs. But the movie was cheesy and it left out so many vital parts. But Lifetime tried. You can't squeeze all that shit into 2 hours with commercials. They make corny as hell movies, and this one came out stereotypical. It was about what I expected, really. They showed Lunkhead as confident, which I've never seen. Everyone agrees that he was quiet and emotionless. Everyone that's been interviewed for Discovery. The actor tried to do that blank look, but he just could not pull it off. Please stay tuned for CW's Coworker, Kodi Roberts. I will pick up with Chapter 14 of My Daddy is a Zero by Lena Derhally in the next video. Thank you for listening.
So again, I'm Stacey Galbraith. I'm an agent with Colorado Bureau of Investigation. We've been called in along with the FBI to assist Frederick with this missing persons case. And do you know the person who's missing?
Not personally, no.
How do you know about this?
I actually seen it on Facebook yesterday morning. I honestly had no idea anything was going on Monday. It was yesterday morning, about 10 o'clock, 10:30. And it popped up on Facebook. One of my friends shared it. And I was like, whoa. So I called my other lead, Troy McCoy, who you guys spoke to earlier today. And he's like, yeah, it's real. But I've never met Shanann. I just know Chris through work. I've known him for almost 2 years now.
Is he a friend of yours or just a coworker? Or?
Pretty conservative friend, yeah. I don't hang out with him on a regular basis, just at work. But he's always been, a person I can call whenever, especially on weekends when I'm working.
Okay, so did you work on Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about your day on Monday.
So,
like what time? Like from when you woke up to when you find this out?
So, I left my house about 6:20, Kersey, first thing in the morning to get fuel because I was going to go out to Survey Ranch. Chris had called me, I missed the call, and he texted me stating he was going to go out there to Survey Ranch to hook up some whip checks on one of the wellheads and then go check out something else for me on another location and then run a well for me as well out there. And I ended up getting a call about 6:40 from my other lead, Chad, who was also spoken to earlier, saying, hey, you need to go out here. We're going to turn on one of the pumping units. So I went out there and...
Out where to Survey?
Yeah, Survey Ranch, to the Survey State 1029 pumping unit out there. And I was going to meet Chris out there as well. I called him. I was like, hey, I'm going out here. Just have, another person on location just in case anything gets sideways. And just waiting around out there. I didn't go anywhere else. I just sat on location waiting.
What time did you get there?
Ooh.
Is there something in your phone that would help you?
Probably say around 7:20-ish, 7:30.
You're the only person there?
Yeah, that Survey State well. And I got a call from Chad, or either got a call from Chad or called Chad. He wanted me to just go ahead and turn it on, so I called Chris, was like, hey, come on over. And he's like, all right, I'll be over there in a little bit. But I guess Troy was over at the 319, Survey 319 with Chris, and then Chad and Melissa were also over there, so I just went ahead and fired the pumping unit anyways and just watched it, and that was it. And then Chad and Melissa showed up, Chris showed up right behind them, and then Troy showed up. And we were out on that facility, all five of us, for, I don't know, a few hours.
So what time was it that Chris showed up?
Great question. Let's see.
What's Chad's last name?
McNeil.
And you said someone's already talked to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
They spoke to him at Anadarko, I guess.
All right.
So, yeah.
There's lots of people doing lots of things, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I called Chris at 8:38, and he returned my call about 10 minutes later at about 8:45, and then I called Chad at 8:49 after I got off the phone with Chris.
So he called back 10 minutes later?
Yeah.
Where was he?
He was over at Survey 319, which I assume he was also with Chad.
He said he was at Survey 319?
Yeah, he was checking something out for me out there.
And that's also where Troy was?
Yeah, I believe so. He was out there as well.
What makes you think that?
Because I want to say they brought it up while we were out there, because I think all four of them were out. I know for a fact all four of them were out there. I don't know what time Troy got out there, and I can't give you a 100% certain answer on what time Chad and Melissa had gotten out there. Chris had texted me at 6:30 that morning, though.
So that was when he said that he was going to go to Survey Ranch?
He was already out there. I'm going to say he was already out there.
What does the text say?
He just texted me at 6:30, where are you at? And he's like, just got fuel in Kersey. He's like, okay, I'm in Survey. Where are you going first? And I was going to Hudson originally, and then I got a call from Chad saying, go out to Survey and start that pumping unit.
So at 6:30, he was saying, where are you at? And can I take a picture of those texts? I'm just going to try to slide it over so that I can get those times.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. How's all this sitting with you?
Not well.
What do you think about it?
It's insane. I mean, literally showed up for work on Monday, showed up out there, like, everything's fine. And
So his demeanor was good?
yeah, I mean,
Normal?
he seemed like something might have been bothering him, and he was at his truck a lot, probably trying to get a hold of Shanann, but he didn't bring it up or anything. I didn't ask him about it. It's not my business. And yeah.
But he didn't disclose anything that was bothering him?
No, he's a fairly quiet guy, pretty humble. I mean, always willing to help. I mean, he's a great guy. In the 2 years I've known him, he's always been, quiet and boring and kind of socially awkward sometimes. Just who he is. But, I've never once thought, yeah, this guy is, sketchy.
Yeah.
Chris Watts, he's a good guy.
So can I read these real quick? I took pictures of them.
Yeah.
So
up to...
So he's like, where are you at 6:30? You just got fuel in Kersey. Okay, I'm in Survey. He says, where are you going first? You're saying that's 319?
The DPC state is another battery located in Hudson. That's where I was originally going, since Chris was already out there going to take care of those three things for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was before Chad had called me asking me to go out to that 1029 pumping unit to start it up.
So he gets whatever's handled in Survey, right?
Yeah.
So at 8:38, are there some calls?
Yeah, so I called, so at 8:38, I called him, and he was probably outside the truck, which is, pretty normal, standard stuff. We don't bring our phones outside the truck. On location, and then he was taking care of that. I assume he was pressure testing that back pressure line where you saw that oil stain.
Mm-hmm.
It looks terrible. But he was pressure testing that. I'm going to go ahead and assume he was pressure testing that line, and that's when he called me back after that, and that's when he called me back about 10 minutes later to tell me that that line was definitely bad.
And that's at Survey?
Yeah.
And that's different than 319?
They're all Survey 1029, Survey 319. So they're all the wells are located on Survey Ranch in Roggin.
Okay.
But the numbers on the wells are going to be different, so
there's 319,
1029 or 10-29, and yeah, those two. And I'm not sure if there was another well, the Surrey Federal 6-29 that I think he was going to go by to put some of the checks on the wellhead. I'm not sure if those got done. I went by there, but I didn't look.
So it sounds like Chris is at, oh gosh, my battery's about to die. I'm recording charger. It sounds like Chris was out there by himself, starting at like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, he'd called me on Sunday. I missed call him. He texted me saying he was going to go out there first thing in the morning. He called me about 5 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and then followed it up with a text letting me know.
So what was the text on Sunday?
I have the whip checks for the Survey 629. I'm going to go straight out there from my house in the morning. I will look at that 319, the one that had the stain around it.
I don't think I went back that far. Do you mind if I go try to find a charger real quick? Because I'm going to stop. It's going to quit recording like in 3 minutes. It went down 10%. So give me 1 sec. I'm sorry.
It's so weird though. I mean, having to try and remember everything that happened.
Well, I know. You don't ever. I know.
It's work. It's everyday stuff for me. I mean, I don't think anything of it. It's literally, hey, it's normal stuff.
Is it normal for, say, Chris on a Sunday to text and say he's going to go somewhere early on Monday morning?
For me personally, no, but I talk to him on the weekends every once in a while I'm working on the weekends. If I have any questions, I'll give him a call. He's always readily available. He doesn't come out to the field or anything, but he'll take phone calls and whatnot.
Can I see that again? So what about it isn't usual for him?
No, I just was surprised that he called me on Sunday. Monday. I mean, I didn't know he was going to go out there until he called me. I didn't know anything about the whip checks needing installed on that Survey Federal 629. That's not to say he didn't discuss it with Luke or Chad or Troy or anything like that, but I wasn't aware of it, which is also fairly
Your
normal.
whip check.
On our supply lines to our motor valves, not for the casing. They're literally just a piece of steel with a hole through the center of them. That way, just in case anything should ever happen, it contains it from going back and forth.
But you didn't know those were needed?
Not on that wellhead, no. All of our wellheads have them on there, but they had just finished construction on that maybe a couple months ago. A month or two ago. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember seeing them on there. Probably Luke or Chad or Tony probably had, not Tony, Troy probably had to go out there to install them. Because a lot of people don't like going out to the ranch at all, period, because it's so far out of the way. I mean, it's a 30-minute drive back to at least Hudson. It's on a good day. I mean, yeah, it takes a while to get out there. Mm-hmm. It's far in the middle of nowhere.
So when's the last time you know that Chris went out there?
Monday.
No, before that. You said nobody really likes to go out there, so...
Oh, good question. I don't know. I'm sure I've had him out there. I know I've had him out there prior. It's just a matter of when. Honestly, it's not something I really keep track of.
So if Chris hadn't been going out here on Monday, what would his typical Monday look like?
He would have went to the office, Anadarko, Platteville office.
So how much time does he spend at the office and in the field, percentage-wise?
Probably 5% office, 10 or 95% of the time in the field.
So 95% field, 5% office?
Mm-hmm.
So what does field look like for him if it's not going out to the survey place?
He's all over the field in Luke's area. So, I mean, from County Road 22 south to 120th Avenue. Adams County, all the way from Rogan down to Fort Lupton, that giant area. He was a rover, now he's a lead, so he covers everything. He just does whatever needs to be done for the day that us operators don't really take care of. So turning on batteries that have been down, that are ready to be returned to production, doing PSSRs, all that stuff. Stuff the important people do.
I love my reading glasses in there. Does that say 1706?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like... So, what did Troy find out there Friday afternoon?
Oh, I had called in that picture that you'd seen. Mm-hmm. I had called Troy about that Friday afternoon, and Chris was with him Friday afternoon, just saying, "Hey, I found that around that riser. What should I do? Dig down." Ended up digging around it, making sure that it was indeed oil, and just trying to figure out best course of action for that for over the weekend. And then I told him I'd go out there Monday first thing. Check it out. So I was more than likely on speakerphone connected to the truck. So if Chris was standing there, he heard it. So.
And you're saying you're going out there, but he's saying, hey, no sense in us both going. I can get it dealt with and basically kind of let you know if there's any issue or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean he's right. I mean there's no sense having all those people out there for.
But then it sounds like
30 minutes.
Sounds like all those. Troy ends up at 319. And Melissa and Chad?
Yeah, Chad and Melissa were already headed out there for that turn on that pumping unit with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why they were out there. And they really didn't ask Troy on why he went out there. He was probably bored.
And is that the 629?
Which one?
The one that they were headed out there to help with
1029.
you? 1029.
Yeah.
And at that point, these numbers are screwing me up here.
Sorry.
Oh, the 629. So Chris was going to go out with the wood checks. I want to call them wood chips. Wood checks for the 629. Whip check for the 629. But he was also going to look at 319 and run 1129.
Yes.
What's 1129?
Yeah, one of the other wells out there.
Not 1029?
Correct.
So there's another one out.
Yes. There's 7 of them out there actually, but those 4 I guess are the ones that we were focusing on that day.
And so then by like 8:48, Chris says he's at 319. Something's doing there. Someone's snapping you.
Yeah, probably.
So he seemed pretty normal, but something was bothering him. Did you ever ask if anything's wrong or anything?
Mm-hmm. I didn't think anything of it. No.
But he spent a lot of time at his truck?
I mean, he wasn't like constantly at his truck, but like while we were at that Survey 1029 pumping unit, me and Chad, Troy were over at his truck, at Chad's truck, and just watching a video, waiting for rods to cool down on the pumping unit so we could change out the stuffing box rotors. And Chris was over just at his truck on his phone. And I mean, it's not uncommon for him to talk to his wife throughout the day. I mean,
So what would you say? So based off this, it looks like off his language. Chris goes out there by 6:30 in the morning. He's at Survey at 6:30 in the morning. And then who, if anyone, sees him at 6:30 in the morning?
Nobody would
No
have
one?
seen him. There's nobody out there.
So who would have been the first person to actually see Chris that morning?
It would have been either Troy or Chad and Melissa.
And that would have been at which pump station here?
The Survey 319.
And that would have been at number 319. Is there a dash in there, or is it just 319?
3-19, sorry.
I need to get this right here. 3-19. And do you know what time that would have been?
Honestly, no. You'd have to check. That would be a good question for Troy or Chad, depending on who was there first. Because, I'm not sure what time they showed up out there. I can't imagine it was very long after I called him.
And they're all in 3 different vehicles, Chad, Troy, and Melissa?
Yeah, they're all in 3 different. Everybody has their own separate vehicles.
So in the 2 years that you've known Chris, has he ever talked to you about his family life or relationship with his wife?
Yeah, he absolutely loves them. I mean, his girls are his world. I mean, whenever something health-wise came up with the girls, I mean, you could tell something was up. He'd tell Luke and tell us, like, hey, the girls are in the hospital, or so on and so forth.
Would he go, or would he have to continue working?
Luke's pretty good about letting us go out of the field, taking time off. Yeah, he let us take time off for family stuff, especially having young kids. Can't relate personally, but I know Troy and Chad and Chris and a lot of the guys have kids, and anytime something comes up with them, they're always able to take time off for family.
Did he ever talk about Shanann?
Yeah.
What would he say? What would that conversation be like?
She's calling. She's calling to work first thing in the morning. He'd step outside and talk to her. I mean,
did you ever
hear
any parts of the conversation? Like, did you ever get any indication that they had any troubles?
No. I mean, I've never got the vibe that they ever had any issues. It's not to say they don't. I mean,
yeah.
Hell, my parents have been married for almost 20 years now, and they still get into it every once in a while. But if they ever did have any, issues, when she called in the morning, he left it at the door, and that was it. We didn't talk about it. It was none of my business. It never has been. It's his family stuff. If he wanted us to know, he'd tell us.
Did he ever talk about his plans, like if his family got a new car, or if they were gonna sell their house, or did he talk about his kids' school, vacations?
I'm not sure if his kids were in school yet, but definitely vacations. When Shanann got her new car and all that stuff, he'd talk about it. I mean, not like crazy talk about it, but he'd bring it up. Because we'd see it on Facebook too. And be like, hey, dude, congratulations and stuff.
Did he ever talk about their finances? Did he ever talk about, so you said the girls, did you know before this that Shanann was pregnant?
Honestly, no, I did not. I guess she had posted about it on Facebook, but I honestly had no idea.
He never mentioned that?
Nobody did, actually. I mean, our group's, pretty close, so usually stuff gets brought up, but I honestly had no idea.
Was there ever any indication that he or Shanann could have been seeing anyone on the side? Do you think that if he would have been doing that he could have disguised that? Or do you think you guys would have known?
I'm sure we probably could have figured it out. Especially, him and I aren't like on a personal basis. I know him and Troy are more on that personal basis. So, Troy probably could have picked it up being at work. I mean, I see him in the morning. I don't see him like all the time at work. It's just every once in a while.
So what's your position there?
I'm an operator.
And how does that compare to being a rover?
So I have a set route. I have 24 wells that I look after, maintain, responsible for the production on. As a lead, you are responsible for literally everything under the foreman. You attend meetings on behalf of the foreman.
And you're not lead?
No.
But Chris is?
Yes.
Does that mean he's higher than you in the hierarchy? Okay.
Yeah.
And he's lead. Is there another part of the title, like what he's lead on, or he's just a lead?
Yeah, they also call them field coordinators. They're people that the foreman see fit as being able to lead the team in the event the foreman's not at work, say he's on vacation or whatever reason.
So he's right under the foreman?
Yes. And they attend meetings. They have sign-off privileges on PSSRs, on turning on facilities and stuff like that.
So he's right under the foreman and can act as the foreman in the foreman's absence?
Yes.
So as far as on Sunday, Chris reaching out to you...
on Friday after work or something, or at work, they're like, hey, we're going to do this for you on Monday, or whatever, because, I mean, even though 24 wells doesn't sound like a lot, when it's spread out across 50 miles, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely not shocking nor surprising to me that he reached out to me on Sunday saying, hey, I'll go out and serve your ranch and go take care of those few things for you.
So not usual, but not shocking.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know now, does that upgrade any shock factor, potentially?
No, not really. I mean, there's a lot of weird things that, I mean, so far from what I've heard from the interview with Chris and then all the other stuff that I've seen come out, it's weird. It's extremely weird. But I've also heard Colorado has a very high sex trafficking crime rate here and all this other stuff. And, you know, the striking thing is him leaving the house at 5:30 in the morning is right. To be out to serve your ranch between traffic, especially traffic, takes about an hour.
What about that time he's out there alone at Servy?
I mean, he's got computer work to do, checking emails, checking Signet, which is the program we use to check all our wells and tanks and pits and stuff. So as a lead, he's going to check everybody's stuff, not just mine or somebody else's, but everybody's stuff across Luke's area. And try and help plan out his day and then make phone calls to other people. Mm-hmm. Whether he did or didn't, I don't know, but that's just one of those things they do.
And believe you me, we want to either involve him or not involve him so that we can focus in the right direction. Do you know what I mean? And we always look at the people closest and we want to get them out of the equation as soon as we can. So that's, you know, this is still pretty early on, so that's what we're all working to do.
Yeah, like, yeah, I mean, the time frame's correct. If he left the house at 5:30, I know Anadarko, my truck, actually all the contractors and Anadarko run GPS in their trucks for that way they know where the trucks are and they can monitor your speed, acceleration, braking, all that stuff. Talking on the cell phone while you're driving.
How does it know that?
Through the Bluetooth.
Oh, like if you're using it.
Yeah, so, and I've already heard that Anadarko's looked at the GPS stuff as far as his truck goes. They didn't tell us what it all looks like because it's none of our business.
Yeah, I mean,
but
let
they
us
told us
investigate.
that they have pulled the GPS on it. As far as that goes, nothing more there.
So have you talked to Chris since all this has happened? Has he?
I texted him yesterday after I found out that his wife and kids were missing. It's like, hey man, you know, my thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. I mean, I pray that they're found safe and get back to you. And if you need anything, just call me, text me. But yeah, other than that,
did he reach out?
No. He's for the most part he keeps to himself. He doesn't have any family out here or anything like that. And, you know, I'm not sure on all the rest of his personal life there, but you know, he keeps to himself. He's quiet but friendly. I mean, humble. Mm-hmm. No, he likes to joke around at work. I mean, we all do. But yeah, I mean, he's never really been weird or, you know, sketchy.
It's good quality to not be sketchy.
Yeah, that's for sure. He didn't really show any signs of nervousness out on location. Like, you know, if he did do something, I mean, so especially something that degree, you know, I don't think you'd be hanging out with all the people you work with. Probably want to be left alone. I'm trying to stay kind of off the radar.
Okay. Is there anybody that you think that we need to you think you should make sure that you tell us to talk to? And when I say that, I don't say, hey, Kodi said we need to talk to you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we just go talk to somebody.
I know Chad and Tony have already been talked to. Not Tony, Troy. Chad and Troy have already been talked to. I know. I spoke to them earlier. And then Melissa, she has an FBI agent going out to her place this afternoon. And Luke, our foreman, I was actually headed out to Servy Ranch this afternoon to go check on that riser, and I ended up actually falling right behind him, the FBI agent, one of the Frederick Police Department guys, and I was just told, you know, don't worry about it, don't get wrapped up in it, just go ahead and head
So they're
out.
getting talked to, or Luke's getting talked to.
Yeah,
right?
I'm assuming he went out to the location that Chris would have been at that morning.
Okay. And anybody outside of work? Like, has he ever mentioned any friends or?
No. I mean, for the most part, he keeps, other than like his kids, he keeps most of his personal life to himself. I mean, it's just who he is. It's how he's always been. He doesn't really bring it up a whole lot at work. I mean, you know, when the kids are sick, he says something, or like new car, he said something. But I mean, friends and stuff like that.
Okay.
He doesn't
So
really-
Chad, Troy, Melissa, Luke. Anybody else?
I mean, as far as people seeing him on Monday, it was just me, Chad, Troy, and Melissa.
Or anyone that he could be close to at work?
Anthony Brown, he's one of the other pumpers. He's a rover too now. Tim Schuster, Tony Kern, because Tony Kern is a foreman in a different area now, but he used to be our previous lead. But he got moved over to the horizontal side and then got a foreman position.
So-
But Tony and Chris work together a lot too.
So Chris worked with all three of these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Currently, still do work with everybody in the group, but Tony. Tony's in a different group now, but did work with them.
What about people at the office? I know he only spends 5% maybe of his time there.
Yeah, he's there for maybe an hour or two in the morning, just to go through wells and talk to Luke, and
Is there anyone else that he talks to at the office that hour or two in the morning?
not that I paid attention to. I mean, usually it's just us, our group. But yeah, as far as like knowing him the longest, I mean, me, Chad, Troy, Tony, and Anthony have all known him the longest, and Tim. Tim's been here longer than the other. Melissa, Daniel, and I guess Robert Mary too would be another one.
Robert Mary?
Yeah.
M-A-R-Y? Or
ERRY. Yeah, we've all worked with Chris extensively in the last couple of years. So as far as any other people at the office that I know about, I don't just see them in the morning and usually take off about the same time.
how many other people are in the office?
Too many to count.
Oh, okay. I don't know how big
It's
it
the
is.
Anadarko field office in Platteville. There's quite a few people. There's a lot of that. I mean, all their Wattenberg operations are based out of that facility.
But he keeps to himself usually in the 1 to 2 hours and just talks with the close
Yeah.
group.
He talks with us and Luke, and yeah, that's about it. I'm sure he talks to, a couple other people, I'm sure, but passing by in the office, it's not really anything I notice.
Okay. All right. Well, if you can't think
Sorry
of
if it's extremely confusing. I mean, I'm confused myself because I didn't think I was going to have to remember this stuff.
That's all right. I mean, you have a lot of text information that gives
Yeah.
us, helps us with timelines and things to hopefully help Chris
Yeah,
in the whole
like,
situation.
I want to
and,
do anything possible to help clear his name because I've seen the nasty comments on Facebook.
and hopefully you
I-
do
I
anything
hate that.
possible to help find Shanann and the
Yeah,
kids too,
definitely.
right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
That's the biggest thing is finding them.
I give you my card.
Yes.
If you think of anything or hear anything, even if you don't think it's a big deal, but you
Yeah.
think it's something we should know at least, then don't hesitate to call.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah.
All right. I appreciate it.